She did it. She really did it. Our neighbor reached over the fence with a stun gun and shocked our dog. And for what? For barking. For doing what dogs do. If you're watching this and think you've seen the worst of Karen behavior, just wait. This one crossed every line. Drop a comment below if you've ever had to deal with an HOA nightmare, or someone who thinks neighborhood rules only apply to everyone else. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe, because what happened next, you won't want to miss. We moved into Cypress Bend at the start of summer. Quiet neighborhood, tree-lined streets, perfect for our first real house. My wife Amy and I had spent years in apartments, saving every spare dollar. When we finally signed the papers, we felt like we'd made it. The backyard was the clincher, spacious, fenced, perfect for Max, our 4-year-old golden lab who's more teddy bear than guard dog. Always wagging, always drooling, loud only when delivery trucks passed. And even then, he'd be wagging while he barked. The first few weeks were perfect. We painted the living room, planted herbs on the back deck, met the neighbors. Most were friendly, casual hellos, small talk at mailboxes. Then there was Lorraine. She introduced herself within the first week. Early 60s, tight perm, pastel windbreaker. The kind of person who corrects you if you call her Miss instead of Mrs. Her opening line wasn't, "Welcome to the neighborhood." It was, "Are you the ones with the dog?" Amy smiled. "Yes, that's Max." Lorraine frowned. "He barks too much." Just like that. Amy blinked. I'm sorry if he disturbed you. He's usually calm." "I work from home," Lorraine snapped. "His barking breaks my concentration. I'll be keeping track." That was the first time my stomach sank. Keeping track? Of our dog? We figured it was just a weird interaction. She lived 2 doors down, not even adjacent. We brushed it off, but it didn't stop. Every other day she'd appear at the fence, arms crossed, glaring. If Max barked once, we'd hear her voice over the fence. "Quiet that animal." One time she even tossed an empty soda can over, which hit Max in the back. I ran outside furious. She'd already disappeared into her house. I installed a motion light by the side gate. Not a camera yet. I wasn't there mentally. Still believed reason could work. Amy left a note in Lorraine's mailbox, politely asking her to stop interacting with Max. The next morning we found dog poop. Not Max's, flung onto our front porch. No note, just a clear message. I started logging everything. Time, day, what happened. We emailed our HOA, but the response was tepid. We encouraged neighborly communication before escalating conflict. Classic. We were alone with this. Then came the day Amy called me at work, sobbing. Her voice was shaking. "She did something to Max." I broke every speed limit getting home. Max was lying on the kitchen floor, whimpering, his left side twitching like he couldn't control it. Amy sat beside him, holding a bag of frozen peas to his ribs. She looked up, eyes red. He was outside. I heard him bark. Just once. Then he yelped, loud. I ran out and saw Lorraine walking away from the fence with something in her hand. A black thing. "Like a stun gun?" I said. Amy nodded. "I think she shocked him." Max couldn't stand. His breathing was erratic. We rushed him to the emergency vet. The diagnosis: mild electrical burns, muscular shock. The vet confirmed the marks matched a low-voltage stun device. I wanted to break something. We called the police that night. An officer took our report, but without video, without a witness. It was our word against hers. "You could try filing a civil complaint," the officer said, almost apologetically. "But you'd need evidence." Evidence. That word clanged in my head like a dropped wrench. Evidence. This wouldn't happen again. I was done playing passive. That night I ordered 2 weatherproof security cameras. Motion activated 4K with cloud backup. If Lorraine wanted war, she'd get one. But next time, I'd have receipts. Max slept beside our bed that night, shivering under a blanket. Every time he whimpered in his sleep, I stared at the ceiling, jaw tight. Tomorrow, I told myself. Tomorrow I fight back. The next morning, I didn't go to work. I took the day off and installed both cameras myself, one facing the backyard, angled toward the section of fence closest to Lorraine's property, the other mounted discreetly under the eaves, watching the side yard and gate. Amy watched from the kitchen window, arms wrapped around herself like a shield. Max lay nearby, ears flat, every bark from another dog in the distance making him flinch. "I don't want her near him ever again," Amy said quietly. "She won't be," I promised. That afternoon, I walked over to Lorraine's house, not to confront her, not yet, but to knock, calmly, directly, so there'd be no mistake. She opened the door halfway, as if expecting trouble. "I want to be clear," I said, voice steady. "If I ever see you on my property again, especially near my dog, I'll press charges." She blinked, not in surprise but mock innocence. "Excuse me? You know what you did." "I have no idea what you're talking about," she said, smiling in a way that made my fist clench. "Maybe you should train your animal better. Barking is a nuisance, you know, against HOA rules." I stepped back, pulled my phone from my pocket and tapped record. "Say that again." Her expression shifted. Not fear, just calculation. She didn't say another word, just closed the door, slowly and silently. That night, I posted in the neighborhood Facebook group. Not accusatory, not emotional. Just facts. I explained that our dog had been injured, that we suspected an electrical device was used, that we'd reported it to the police and installed security cameras. I asked anyone who had similar issues with Lorraine to contact us directly. I didn't expect much. By the next morning, I had 5 private messages. One neighbor, a retired woman named Sylvia, said Lorraine had once screamed at her granddaughter for riding her scooter too loudly near the sidewalk. Another said Lorraine had called animal control on her cat, a strictly indoor tabby. A third neighbor told me Lorraine had poured weed killer onto their lawn because it looked messy and dragged down the value of the neighborhood. A pattern was emerging. Max slowly began to recover. His appetite returned. He wagged his tail again. But he barked less, even at trucks, and he never stayed outside long. I couldn't blame him. Trauma clings. Then one Thursday around noon, the motion alert on my phone buzzed. I pulled up the camera feed. Lorraine was back, standing at the edge of the fence, phone in one hand, what looked like a garden rake in the other. She wasn't doing anything, just staring. I saved the clip, time-stamped it, and sent it to the police officer who'd taken our report. He replied, "Without physical trespass or direct threat, not much I can do, but keep documenting." So we did. 3 days later, the footage got worse. It was just after sunset. Amy and I had gone out to dinner, left Max inside. The footage showed Lorraine stepping into our yard through the back gate, which we always kept locked. That night, we must have forgotten. She walked across the lawn, pulled a small black device from her jacket pocket, and approached the back door. She pressed the device against the glass. Once, twice, it sparked. Then she turned and walked out like nothing happened. I couldn't breathe when I watched it. Amy went pale. "She tried to shock her way into the house?" "No," I said, rewinding. "She was checking if Max was there." Amy clutched her chest. "She was looking for him." I emailed the footage to the police. This time I got a different response. "This constitutes trespassing. We're dispatching an officer for a formal statement." Lorraine was arrested the next morning, just briefly, charged with trespassing and intent to harm property, a misdemeanor, but still, the handcuffs were real. So was the squad car. I stood on the porch and watched it happen. She didn't scream, didn't argue, just looked at me, expression hollow, as if none of this had gone the way she planned. Amy stood beside me, gripping my hand like it was the only thing keeping her upright. "She thought we'd just take it," she whispered. "Not anymore." News travels fast in neighborhoods like ours. By sunset, the video footage, blurred for privacy, was circulating among residents. Lorraine was no longer a whisper behind fences. She was exposed. But this story wasn't over, not even close. The arrest was just the spark. What followed was a wildfire. Within 2 days, Lorraine posted bail. Of course she did. She had money, connections, maybe even friends on the HOA board. But something had shifted. She didn't wave to neighbors anymore. Didn't strut across her driveway in that pastel windbreaker like she ran the block. She kept her blinds drawn. Her car, usually parked confidently at the curb, now sat tucked into her garage like it was hiding. But silence wasn't surrender. We knew better. Max was healing. The burns had faded, though he still flinched when anyone raised a hand too fast. We were walking him on leash, even in our fenced yard now, just to be safe. Every time we passed Lorraine's house, his tail dropped. That alone made me angrier than anything she'd ever said. Then came the letter, folded neatly in our mailbox, no return address, just one line. If you'd kept your dog quiet, none of this would have happened. Amy stared at it for a long time. She's not done, she whispered. No, I agreed. She's just getting smarter. We called our lawyer, yes, by now we had one, and filed for a restraining order. The judge approved it on the spot, thanks to the video evidence. Lorraine was now legally forbidden from coming within 100 feet of our property. Any violation would mean jail time. Meanwhile, something unexpected started happening. People reached out. Not just the original 5 neighbors from Facebook, dozens more. Some we'd never even met. They shared stories, footage, even HOA violation letters that bore Lorraine's signature. Arbitrary fines for lawn height. Warnings about unauthorized porch lighting. Pet complaints filed against dogs that didn't exist. One man, Josh, told us Lorraine had fined him $75 for having a plastic Adirondack chair visible from the street. Another, a mother named Rachel, said Lorraine once called CPS because her toddler had a tantrum on the front lawn and might be emotionally disturbed. It was all control. Power through pettiness. So we organized. Amy and I hosted a meeting. Not formal, just neighbors gathering and folding chairs on our driveway. Michael brought cookies. Rachel printed out violation letters. Josh had a spreadsheet. We started piecing it all together. Lorraine wasn't just one bad neighbor. She was the self-appointed dictator of Cypress Bend, using the HOA as her tool. And the HOA, mostly asleep at the wheel. 3 board members, all of them Lorraine's friends. They rubber-stamped every fine, every complaint. Until now. That week, we filed a formal petition to audit the HOA. We needed 25 signatures. We got 67 in 2 days. The board was forced to hold an emergency meeting. Lorraine didn't show up, but her influence hovered like smoke in the room. Amy and I attended, along with 10 other residents. When I stood to speak, I kept it simple. We're not here because of one bad neighbor. We're here because we let her go unchecked. That ends tonight. Rachel read aloud the letter Lorraine had sent her. The CPS threat. Josh pulled out his spreadsheet. Another man handed over a thumb drive with archived emails. The board tried to wave it off, called it neighborhood drama. That's when Amy stood up. She held up a photo of Max from the vet visit. Burned, trembling, eyes vacant. This isn't drama, she said. It's abuse. The room went still. By the end of the meeting, a motion was introduced to suspend Lorraine's voting privileges on the board pending investigation. It passed 2-1. We thought that would cool things down. We were wrong. 3 nights later, our front window shattered. A brick wrapped in newspaper landed on the rug. No note this time. Just the sound of Max howling, Amy screaming, and my blood boiling. The police came, took statements, filed a report. But without prints or footage of the actual thrower, there was nothing they could do. Again. I'm done waiting, I told Amy that night. We're taking this to court. Real court, and we did. The lawsuit wasn't about money. It was about accountability. We filed civil charges against Lorraine for trespassing, animal cruelty, harassment, and emotional distress. Our lawyer, Ms. Delgado, was relentless. She specialized in neighborhood disputes, and when she saw the footage of Lorraine pressing a stun gun against our door, not once, but twice, she didn't blink. This woman's never faced real consequences, she said. That ends now. The case alone didn't scare Lorraine, but the discovery process, that rattled her. She was now required to turn over emails, phone logs, HOA communications, everything. The subpoena reached not just her, but the HOA board itself. Suddenly, silence turned into squirming. 2 weeks into discovery, we got a call from Amanda, one of the board members who had voted against suspending Lorraine's powers. "I'm done covering for her," she said. "You want the emails, the recordings? I've got it all." She came to our house carrying a USB drive and a tired look in her eyes. She threatened my job, said she'd dig up something on my husband if I didn't support her. I stayed quiet too long. The files were damning. Lorraine had used her position to manipulate HOA violations, fabricate fines, and even block real estate sales from going through unless she got a referral cut. She referred to Amy and me in one email as the loud dog trash who need to be taught a lesson. Another email to the board read, "Make their life miserable. Every code, every rule, bury them in paper until they break." The worst part? The HOA president had responded, "Already on it." Armed with this, Ms. Delgado filed an injunction to remove Lorraine from the HOA permanently. But it went further than that. She forwarded the files to the state's Department of Regulatory Agencies, citing abuse of authority and fraud. Then the press got involved. It started with a blog post, local watchdog group, then the county paper picked it up. HOA tyrant targets young couple and their dog. They used a photo of Max looking sad but recovering, with Amy kneeling beside him. Comments exploded. Residents from other communities chimed in. Former neighbors of Lorraine shared horror stories of their own. Turns out Cypress Bend wasn't her first HOA rodeo. By the time the HOA board held a special session to vote on her removal, over 100 residents had signed in-person statements. The vote wasn't even close. 3-0. Lorraine was officially stripped of all HOA authority. We thought that was the end, that we could finally breathe. But then came the retaliation. It started small. Sugar poured into my car's gas tank. Caught in time. A dead squirrel thrown onto our porch. Disgusting, but harmless. Then our fence was slashed in 2 places. Surgical cuts, as if someone used a box cutter in the dead of night. Each incident reported, each logged, each making the case against her stronger. Then one morning I stepped outside and found a sign staked into our lawn. "Warning, unstable aggressive animal on premises. Keep children away." I stood frozen, gripping the signpost like it might scream. Amy came out seconds later. She didn't speak, just took a picture, pulled the sign up, and threw it into the trash. Then she went inside and came back with a pad of paper. "We're calling Channel 5. Today." The local news crew arrived by late afternoon. They filmed Max, now healthy again, licking their microphone. They interviewed Amy, who told our story calmly but with fire in her voice. She hurt our dog. She tried to ruin our peace. But we're still here, and we're not going anywhere. The story aired that night. Lorraine's name wasn't bleeped. The next morning, her house had a "for sale" sign on the lawn. We watched from the porch as she loaded boxes into the trunk of her car, sunglasses hiding her eyes, mouth tight with something between hate and shame. She looked up once, saw us, didn't wave, didn't speak, just got in her car, slammed the door, and drove off. But the damage she'd done, that would take longer to clear. We thought that would be the end, and in most ways, it was. Lorraine was gone. The "for sale" sign disappeared a week later, replaced by a moving truck and a new family with 2 little boys and a golden retriever of their own. Amy baked banana bread for them. I helped carry boxes. Max sniffed the new dog, tail wagging cautiously, like he could still sense ghosts in the soil. But peace doesn't return all at once, not after months of looking over your shoulder. We kept the cameras up. We checked the mail twice a day. Amy still flinched at the sound of our back gate creaking. I kept Max close on walks. Trauma has a way of building muscle memory, even for dogs. But slowly, the neighborhood changed. Amanda was elected as the new HOA president in a unanimous vote. She drafted a new transparency policy, held monthly open meetings on Zoom, and publicly apologized to residents who had received baseless violations. One by one, people began speaking freely again, not just about Lorraine, but about the atmosphere of silence she'd created. Josh got his chair back. Rachel painted her front door red without asking permission. Sylvia let her granddaughter ride her scooter down the street without fearing another complaint. The neighborhood in small ways began healing. One night, about a month after Lorraine left, Amy and I sat on the porch with Max curled at our feet. The air was cool, soft, with the buzz of crickets and the occasional bark from a dog down the road. Amy leaned against my shoulder. "It feels different now. Quieter, realer," she said. "Like home." I nodded, watching Max doze. "We should have had to fight so hard just to feel safe." "No," she said, "but we did. And now nobody else has to." The court case was still in motion. Lorraine, through her lawyer, tried to settle a modest financial offer in exchange for dropping the charges. We declined. We weren't after money. We wanted a verdict, a public one. 6 months later, we got it. Guilty on trespassing and animal cruelty, fined. Ordered to attend court-mandated therapy and community service. It wasn't jail time, but it was real. It was on record. It meant she couldn't slip into another neighborhood and start over clean. But the real justice didn't come in a courtroom. It came in a letter. Handwritten, shaky script. No return address, but we knew who it was from. "I wanted to ruin you. I wanted to silence you. I thought I could. I was wrong. You reminded me there are still lines that can't be crossed without consequences. I hope your dog is okay. Don't forgive me. Just know you were right to fight back." Amy read it first, then handed it to me. She didn't say a word. Just let me read it all the way through before folding it back into the envelope and placing it in the drawer where we keep vet bills and HOA forms and the camera footage we'll probably never need again. Max barked once as a car passed. Just one bark, nothing aggressive. Then he laid back down, eyes half-lidded, tail tapping the wood like a heartbeat. This was our home now, still standing, still ours. And no one, not even a Karen with a stun gun, could take that away.